Welcome back to your podcast where your stories are welcome. You're welcome. The interview show. This is where we chat about your history, your cars. This is To All the Cars I've Loved Before. Check us out at carslove.com. I am Christian with my tech genius co-host, Butna. Doug, how you doing, pal?
Doing great. Today is going to be an extra special show. Got another great friend of the show on.
I am so psyched about today. I don't know what the weather is doing up there, but down here, instead of preparing for this show, I went for a run, a 3.5 mile run, because the weather is spectacular here in the Florida Gulf Coast. 39% humidity, 71 degrees, sunny, not a cloud in the sky. So, hey, it's a great day to stay inside in front of your computer and, hey, chat with friends, reminisce. That's what the show is all about. Your first car, second car, third car, current car, parents' car, buddy's car, girlfriend's car.
Stories.
That's it. These are the cars that made us.
Life lessons through cars.
Absolutely. Life lessons through cars. So, yeah, before I hand it over, Doug, for the tech update on the platforms, the analytics, who is listening, where is listening, why they're listening, just wanted to let you know the audience continues to grow. We continue to get a ton of mail by way of our email addresses. We had these recently fired up. Doug procured the domain carslove.com. So I am at Christian at carslove.com. That's CHRISTIAN at carslove.com. He is at DOUG at carslove.com. So I love interacting with the listeners. So, hey, just shoot us a mail if you like what you hear. If you don't like what you hear, it's all fine. And if you want to be on the show, even better, just shoot us an email. It's very easy. The prep for the show, as informal as it sounds, is exactly as we record it. Doug is a great big planner. I am not. My plan is no plan, and it makes Doug want to reach to the screen and strangle me every time I say it. But you know what? It comes out perfect every time. Every show is different because every listener is different. What you got?
Well, with those of us who plan, if you don't want to send an email, you're not email savvy, you don't like email, you're on the latest platforms, we have a form on our website. Feel free to check that out. Give us feedback. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing is I would say, get involved to the degree you can. Listen to the episodes. So when you go to, I always check it out. Doug has us propagated all over the internet by now. He's got us on so many platforms. But I would say get involved. Listen to the episodes. Please follow the show. Download the episodes. This helps us get the attention of the larger players and stakeholders in the space. Check out the website. Let us know what you think. You can see pictures of us. Why anyone would want that, I have no idea. But there are pictures of cars of people who've been on the show before. And hey, yours would look great up there too. Finally, before I toss it over across the fence, I would say, please tell your friends about the show. So we are growing by word of mouth, and we just see the analytics sort of spiraling out of control as we catch fire like a disgusting virus all over the planet. So I'm going to toss it across the screen to see what my man with a plan has for us. What you got, buddy?
There's a new blog out there. So far, only my notes, but Christian, I hope you'll be adding to it soon. It's definitely worth reading.
Yeah, I thought about some things I could write about today. Yeah.
It's definitely worth reading, I think. And if those of you are interested in where the genesis, if you will, of this show came from, got it covered in the first blog post.
Yeah, I read it. I loved it. I thought of some things that I could write. Going to be bouncing it off you. And thank you for that. Appreciate the updates. And so, you may not know this, but Doug and I go way back, college buddies for decades. And Doug's friend that he's known for some time is on the show. I'm so excited. I just met her. I'm so pleased that she's going to join us here. But let me hand over formal introductions to the man with a plan.
Yeah. So we have our wonderful guest, good friend of mine, going back to 2019 that I met in California, just randomly we were both on a bus tour going to Yosemite, and we've stayed in touch since then. She blames me for her new, her husband. I don't know why I should be blamed. He seems like a great guy, but
this is how we get into trouble. It's stuff like that gets us in trouble. But you know what? Keep rolling, partner. You're on a roll.
We have the wonderful, brilliant, Dora on. And Dora is hailing from, where are you from, Dora?
Hi, I'm from Mazatlan, Mexico.
Yep. And you are talking to us from
Austin, Texas.
the great state of Texas. Thank you. So,
Okay, wait.
yes.
Oh, I had to hop it. Okay, I can wait, but I wanted to ask about Tabasco. Tabasco is a state. I know Tabasco is a state in Mexico. I visited the Tabasco factory in South Louisiana. My girlfriend and I, Tiffany, last weekend, we had the best time visiting the Tabasco factory where they make all the hot sauces there. And and there's a nature preserve, South Louisiana, Avery Island in South Louisiana. So Tabasco is a state in Mexico, but that's south of where you're from. Is that right?
That's correct.
Nice. A man who knows his geography.
Yeah. Keep going, man. I'm sorry. I just had to throw that in there. Please continue, Doug.
No, that's it. That's okay. So, so Dora's a longtime friend, 5+ years now, and we stay in touch, even though we don't see each other very often. And she, like many of my guy friends, she's really into cars. So
it's a theme. Yup.
I am.
I think the comment from her husband was, "Why aren't they talking to me?" And your comment back to him was, "You don't know anything about cars." And he's like, "Yeah, you're right." So I think you negotiated the Cayman purchase, right? That was all you.
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. You made him get rid of his Saturn Sky.
Oh God, yes.
Really?
With the hamster inside, right? Hamster wheel?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Now he rolls in a Porsche Cayman. There's a Range Rover. There's also a little Fiat, right?
It's a smart car for two.
Oh, that's right. It's a Smart Fortwo.
Yes.
That's right. My Little Pony, as you call it.
My Little Pony.
Right? But, yep, I'm taking it all away from you. So if you would tell the listeners about yourself, what do you do? What would you like to share with people? Anything negative about me, maybe leave out.
Okay, just your wrinkles, but yeah, we can talk about everything else. I own a medical spa in Austin, Texas, and I do everything from Botox, fillers, threads, laser treatments, and I still love cars.
That's right.
Perfect guest.
Yep, exactly. And you've had there's been some crossover between your job in cars and your clients, right? You were telling us before we started recording that there were some things you were interested in doing, and maybe you want to share one or two of those things with us.
Yeah, well, I noticed that most of my clients, they come in hot rides, Mercedes, BMWs. I mean, everybody likes hot cars, right? So I was like, well, let's bring cars into the beauty business. And I got a corporate account with NASCAR, and I had an event where everybody who spent $700, I will get them free tickets to come to NASCAR with us. And that's how we started. And also we were planning an event with Lamborghini, and hopefully we can make that happen in the near future.
Yeah. Have you thought about sponsoring a Cars and Coffee at your spa?
Cars and Coffee?
Yeah, or you could call it Cars and Botox. I don't know.
That would be fun to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Just Christian and I are big fans of going to Cars and Coffee events. So it's people just love talking about their cars.
The rally in the parking lot. Well, let's pause there for a moment. If you don't know, and if they're not plentiful in your city, Cars and Coffee typically means that a bunch of car aficionados will bring their unique, sometimes exotic, sometimes old, sometimes pristine, sometimes beat up automobiles. So they're collectible, fun weekend cars, and they'll all show up in a parking lot, and they'll bring coffee, and they'll just kind of show up for the first hour or two in the morning. I live in Pensacola. Doug lives in the Mid-Atlantic, and there's some really neat ones near him. And every so often we have them down here. But yeah, they're a trip. They're a trip. So
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I haven't heard of any here. I probably have to find them. But I know there is one at Coda where they meet every Sunday and they ride their fun cars like Porsches and Ferraris. So you just go there and meet with the guys. Yeah.
I think we have a new marketing plan in place. I like it. You're welcome, Dora. If it fails, don't blame me.
Yeah. If Doug is in charge of your intellectual property, you need to get a new intellect and a new property.
Yeah.
Dora, I can't wait to catch up with you about, or to learn from you about what it was like growing up, where you grew up in Mexico, and what it was like driving there, learning to drive, how it's different from Austin, where you are now. I can't wait to dive into that. But before we do that, we wanted to chat a little bit about car news of the day to just sort of set the stage. And we're all pretty relaxed right now, but what do you think, partner? Can we knock out a couple of quick nuggets from the news this week?
Yeah, let's throw those nuggets out. Go for it.
Yeah. So we were chatting, as we always do, a little pre-show before the show in prep for actually recording the podcast episodes here. And this was one that we chatted about quite a bit. So all these nuggets I picked this week came from cbsnews.com and my internet bouncing around in my Ethernet travels. They had some interesting nuggets this week. So first one is what to know about protecting your car data privacy. And what this article was driving at is modern cars collect insane amounts of data around you, around what you do when you're driving, and now they're connected apps. So Tiffany bought a Range Rover a couple of weeks ago, and it's really neat because on the app she can just do all the unlock the car, all kind of information, warnings about the car, etc. And this is all wonderful, like a new toy. But how safe are those data? Where can they go? Could they go to the insurance company, where the insurance company can learn about your driving patterns and possibly charge you more? So how safe are these data was the thrust of the article.
Well, I think as we've seen, no data is safe once on the internet, right? If it's a connected machine, it's out there. For what it's worth about insurance, Tesla offers insurance, and I was looking into it, and it's based on how you drive. I opted out because I want to drive the car the way I want to drive it, hopefully mostly safe. And I don't want my insurance, I've been driving for 30 plus years. I have no accidents, but I want to drive the car the way I want. And my insurance is quite low, and
really,
I plan to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Through avoiding accidents, but not based on feedback. Now, my insurance company has a nice option where I can share that data, but I said no, and I will continue to do so.
Yeah, good point. What do you think, Dora? Anything to add on that?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting. I have a Range Rover too, and our phone connects to our radio. And it gets all the contacts, it gets all the content. And as well, we do have the reader from our insurance company, so they can give us a discount. So we're kind of like volunteering all this data. And I don't know, where it goes or what they do with it, but pretty much they have access to our cell phones.
Would you consider yourself a trusting person?
I don't think we understood how that worked at the beginning, and you just connected to your phone list and you just let it roll, and then now everything is happening and you're like, oh my gosh, what else do they have access to?
That's such a good point.
Yeah. And was the discount like considerable at the time? Just curious.
I think it was like $50 per month, but they get a reading on how you drive. Yeah.
Have you and your husband taken it out yet?
He does. He only goes to work once a week, so yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So he's like, whenever I'm driving the car, it magically goes offline.
Well, he drives like a grandpa, so yeah, he's not worried.
That's not worried.
Hey, he's one of the good guys. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for that. Another thing that caught our eye was this headline. And as we record this episode, first quarter sales number in the United States came out. We're in early April, so the first quarter just closed here. And auto sales were up by nearly 5% despite high interest rates. But EV growth slows further. And before I toss this one over to you both, I thought it was interesting that auto sales were up because I've just, in my Ethernet travels and also out in the world, it seems like there are a lot fewer cars on car lots and a lot less choice. And even though interest rates are high, people are just saying carpe diem. I want a new car and I want it now and I'm sick of waiting. And so what happens is
that's the American way, bro.
Yeah. So if you want a car, go get the car. And again, Tiffany bought this Range Rover just recently, but she had been searching for actually quite some time. And it's just, hey, when it's time to do it, it's time to do it and put it in the done column. So what do y'all think?
I think it's amazing that the rates are high. I mean, the sales rates are high. I think the companies are very competitive right now, offering a lifetime warranty if you do the maintenance with them every month. I think it's part of the American culture too. Like what car you drive, that's going to be how people perceive how successful you are. So yeah, I mean, they're always going to have sales. I know every brand has a niche. So I don't know how the 5% and luxury cars match right now based on the economy. So that's kind of interesting.
I think that's a very good point that you say that. And I just connected a few dots for me because all of my cars are old and beat up and unimpressive. And so what does that say about the owner? I'm an idiot. It fits a little bit. What do you think, Doug?
No, kind of old, beat up and unimpressive. But, Dora actually, she is in the market, I think, always for a new car, right? So you're coming off very recent information. In fact, you had just told me about the lifetime warranty. I think it was Jeep, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Smart move. But I would say this, having owned some cars, not Jeeps, I have owned Jeeps, which were actually more reliable than some of the fancier cars. Having a warranty, but having your car at the dealer all the time, really,
that's not good.
Yeah, they're not very compatible. So that is the risk there. But yeah, it's good to see it.
Drop the mic on that point.
Good to see some competition, and we're out of the 2020s where you had to pay a premium to get a car. I don't care what new, used. It could have been one of Christian's cars. You had to pay more than $5 for it.
Well, I don't know if I've ever paid more than $5 for an automobile, but moving on. Our last news nugget of the day here was, I thought this was interesting, and this was the coming out of Detroit. GM has a facility up there they call Factory Zero, where they manufacture lithium-ion batteries. And the Detroit Fire Department was called out. There was a fire recently, I think it was in the past couple of weeks. And so the article is entitled GM's Factory Zero Raises Fire Safety Concern, Detroit Fire Department Urges Action. So as these batteries, they're all lithium ion in the cars, and we know that there's some fire hazards there. And I just thought it was an interesting read on again, as we move forward in EVs and batteries are everywhere, right?
Yep, for sure. Yep.
Well, that's all we have for the breaking news that I read online. So what do you think? Should we get into Dora's cars, man?
Yeah. And, I think for most of us, wherever you are, you're going to hear some interesting facts about the proper age to drive in Mexico is. I'm not sure if there is one, but Dora has some great stories. So I can't wait to share them with everyone.
Take it away. Yeah. So Dora, in the pre-show chatter, you mentioned that your first car was a Datsun 1600. So do you remember what year the car was and about how old you were when you procured it? And what were your thoughts of that first car?
Yeah. So I was 9 years old. I always drove on the lap of my dad, whatever car he was driving or truck. And early age, I knew I wanted to learn how to drive. And he will take me every Sunday to just drive around the neighborhood. And in that little Datsun, I don't know what year it was. Who knows, in the 70s. And I don't know. I thought it was amazing. I mean, having to drive something and do something that you were not supposed to be doing, it was fun.
Oh, I love that.
Would you say who wanted who to drive? Did your dad want you to? Were you begging him to drive? How did that go down?
Yeah, I begged him. I went on a motorcycle, but I mean, we had cars, so it's like, let's go and drive.
Yeah. And for our Americans, the Datsun 1600 was sold here as a Datsun 510. It was the A10 series, built from 1977 to 1981. And believe it or not, those 510s in America, at least, are still very desirable these days as tuner cars. They're a really neat car. But you were, 9 years old then?
Yeah, we don't have driving schools in Mexico like we have it here. So it's always one of your parents going with you and going to a big field, either a baseball field, and just driving around there, or around the beach when there is no people. And that's what we did every Sunday, going and practicing. He will sit right next to me and he will shut down because it was a stick. And I had to learn how to slowly release the gear and move forward and reverse and park and everything.
I love that.
So 9 years old, stick shift
Yeah.
in a field, parking lot, wherever. Wow.
Yeah, by 13, I was already picking up people, driving on my own.
Whoa.
No driver's license, but
No
it
insurance.
was Mexico.
Yeah.
No insurance. I don't know. My parents.
Insurance optional. So you have some great stories. It was just you and your dad, father, daughter. You twisted his arm, daddy, please let me drive the car.
Yep.
And that's what happened.
Yep.
Yeah. And something you said, wow, this memory just flooded back to me. And I don't think I've thought about this in decades. You mentioned something about sitting on your father's lap. And I remember my dad putting me in his lap and having me drive his enormous Pontiac Catalina, beautiful car, big car, and just I think this was when he taught at Penn State, so this would have been in Pennsylvania, and let me drive around the neighborhood too, and he loves to tell that story, and I forget how young I was, but I don't think I remember myself, but I've heard him say that so many times that I feel like this memory has been sort of somehow implanted in my brain, and it's such a lovely memory. And so I have three sons, and the older two are out and driving, but my youngest needs to learn, and we'll be in my neighborhood, and I'll just give him the keys to the car, and he's just petrified, horrified, having no idea. I said, just relax. As long as you keep your foot near the brake, we can't get into too much damage. But I don't know. That's just a lovely memory that you conjured. So thank you.
Yeah. So what was the next car, or what was your first official car, if you will?
Yeah, in high school, I got the hand-down-me car from my older brother. It was a Dart K from Chrysler. And I loved that car because it was white with red interiors. And I thought it was like the best car ever because it was all mine and I could pick up my friends and drive around.
Yep. And it was a four-door?
Four-door.
Yeah. What color?
White with red interiors.
Sorry. You said that. Yep. Yeah. So, those 80s cars, the velour red, my dad had a few cars with those, a few cars with that interior, the lovely color. And for the, now I know Dart K, so people think about darts. In fact, we had somebody on recently who owned a few Dodge Darts, but in America, that was a different car. In Mexico, the Dodge Dart K, in America, it was sold as a Dodge Aries K car, if you will. K car being the platform. So
they made a ton of those.
A ton. Well, that's what saved Chrysler, the Iacocca, right? That's what saved Chrysler. That and some money from the U.S. government to tide them over. But yeah, it worked. And every once in a while, I see one of those. And when I see them, they are in pristine shape.
Wow.
There's only a few. Every once in a while, like it's somebody's Sunday driver and they just kept it and took great care of it. But I mean, that car was a platform that was used for everything.
Yeah.
They made convertibles, two doors. My very first car, Dodge Daytona, was also based on a K car.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. K car was the way to go.
Yeah.
Kind of amazing that you still see these cars on the road, and up where Doug is in the mid-Atlantic, it's salt on the roads in the harsh-ish winters. And down here where I am in Florida, I live right by the water, so it's the salt air. So I wonder which is more corrosive, but salt and moisture guaranteed to destroy anything. Now,
having been in California a few weeks ago, the number of old cars out there that are still on the road is just amazing. Like, it's heaven for somebody like me and for Dora.
Yeah, well, they have so many restoration companies that, I mean, that's what they do. I love those shows on Netflix.
Yep, ditto. I watch a lot of YouTube shows as well with car repairs.
I like that. Now, I think we're going to move to the third act here, and this is what I've been waiting for all day. When I heard this, my little tail just started wagging. The Ford Probe. You had a Ford Probe, Dora, and I just thought those were the neatest, most unique cars. What did they come out? 87, 88, something like that?
89.
89. There you go. So what was your experience like with that car? Where did you get it? Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, that was my first car in college. I was in Houston, and it was a mint green. And I thought it was the greatest thing. It was in the 90s because the front lights came out.
Pop-up headlights. Love them.
Yes. I loved that car. And the power was amazing too. It was a 2-door. I had a spoiler in the back. I just loved that car. Not the color, but the car.
Mm-hmm. And it was a stick shift as well, right?
No, this one was automatic.
Okay. Well, nobody's perfect. It's okay. But yeah, you love that car. You know, and we didn't, if we could backtrack real quick, what happened to the K car, the dark K, pardon me?
I think it was sold because I got an Oldsmobile. It was like a sports edition, white with red too, for my 15th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So I had it for 3 years while in college, and yeah, it was an amazing car too.
No, that's awesome. And so the fast forward to the Probe.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you have that car for?
I had it for 3 years, and then I got a Grand Jeep Cherokee.
Gotcha.
Boy, that seems to be the theme. That's happened with several people. It was a big car in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Sorry to backtrack. Any like memorable? You mentioned the spoiler. Not a fan of the mint green, but you love the car. Anything super awesome? Super awesome. That's such a great term. But anything really memorable happened in that car that you can think of, that you want to share, at least?
Yeah, I'm moving to Austin from Houston. And I'm still here.
So that car took you from Houston to Austin.
Houston to Austin, yeah.
And you've been there for 25 years, right? I have that right?
Close to 20, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. And so little, you're into cars, Dora. You may know about this. When the Ford Probe first came out,
mm-hmm.
It was intended to replace, you had a Gen 2 Probe. It was intended to replace the Mustang.
Oh, wow.
And so the Ford Probe was actually a Mazda Ford collaboration. Mazda had the MX-6. I actually had a Gen 2 MX-6 akin to your Ford. But the muscle car / Mustang community just went crazy, and Ford's like, nah, we'll keep the Mustang going. And look what won. The Probe is gone, and the Mustang's still being made. So
wow,
yeah, that was the plan, to retire that Fox body and rear wheel drive and turn the Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
But Ford had done the development, so they just made the Probe.
Wow.
And yeah, it was so futuristic when it came out, even the first version. I remember seeing one at the dealer. My dad was able to take a drive in it, and it was a 5-speed, and I probably wasn't even 16, but I was just drooling over it.
Yeah.
And I brought home the brochure, and I was like drawing pictures of it.
So beautiful and so different.
It was awesome.
It just looked so different.
I loved it.
Yep. It had a digital dash then. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you for sharing these tales. Uh-oh. You know what happened? Look what happened, partner. We're just getting started with Dora and getting knee deep into these stories. And instead of exhausting questions, I just have so many questions to ask her about where she grew up and how she came here and how she became the person that she is. But we've run out of time yet again. And
on this episode,
but there will be others. We'll have to have you back in season 37, Dora.
Sounds good.
We're on season 1 right now. So, hey, what are you doing? Let's see if we can pencil you into our schedule. What are you doing in March of 2046?
Hopefully driving.
Well, I'm sure you will be. So what do you got, partner? Let's, by way of wrapping up, what you got?
Just for everyone on the show, I just want to ask Dora, you're looking at cars. What's at the top of your list right now?
Right now, I really want a Urus or a Ferrari. That will be my next one. And
Lamborghini Urus or Maserati, what model?
No, Ferrari.
Oh, Ferrari. Which model?
I like the California, but we'll see. I still want an SUV.
Yep. Yeah, well, the Urus is an SUV-ish.
Yeah.
You can't buy a Ferrari California if you live in Texas.
Why not?
You have to buy well, it's the wrong state. You can't buy a they won't sell them. You have to go get a Ferrari Texas.
It doesn't work like that. My God. Such a novice.
Ferrari would have to make a truck for it to be called the Ferrari Texas. But you know what?
Go back to your Acura MDX. You don't know what you're out of your league.
I am. Yeah, always. It's a constant predicament of mine.
Well, it's the one thing I can school you on.
Well, thank you for having me, you guys.
Thank you, Dora.
Well, thank you, Dora. You know what? I've heard about you. Yeah, I've heard about you for years, and it was just so wonderful to hear your voice. And if not meet you in person, meet you over the interwebs. So thank you for making the time. And do you have any final parting thoughts or words for the millions of people who are going to listen to this episode of To All the Cars I've Loved Before?
Just keep driving and give us some tips and share with us what are your favorite cars.
That is wonderful. Thank you. Well, all right, Cars Love Nation. That's another episode in the book with another fantastic guest. And so ensure that you are, as I said at the top of the show, please help us continue to grow. There's only so much multivitamins will do. So follow the show, download the episodes, visit the website, email us. If you want to be on, you can be one of our listeners from all over the world. Podcast platforms, listen wherever you get your podcast, you can get us. Email us directly. I check email 300 times a day. Doug checks it 301 because he's an overachiever. That's it. This in the books. Doug at carslove.com. Christian at carslove.com. She is Dora. We will see you next time.
Bye.